Hello everyone, Mr. Lipchick here, and our topic for discussion today is going to be election campaigns. Presidential election campaigns. In order to be elected president, a candidate must win 270 of the 538 electoral votes. Usually, the winner of the popular vote also wins the electoral vote. Because of the importance of electoral votes, candidates focus on states with large populations, such as California, Texas, New York, and Florida. To the right, you see an electoral map for the election of 2012, which was won both in the popular vote and the electoral vote by Barack Obama. They will not ignore the smaller states, however, as these will make a difference in their electoral count. So they will be sure to visit the small states, but maybe not put as much time into them as they would places like Ohio, which has a considerable number of votes, and Pennsylvania. The presidential candidate, with the help of his or her staff, must decide on a campaign strategy. What issues to focus on? And his or her opponent's weaknesses. Should they be aggressively brought out, or will it backfire and make the candidate look bad? Where to spend money? Television, radio, internet, or other choices? And they must choose a campaign manager who is responsible for planning a strategy and carrying out the campaign. And there are people who do this professionally. Television is used to create an image or mental picture of the candidate for the voters. This is known as packaging. Hopefully it will be a positive one. And the internet has become more and more important to campaigns for getting out information on events, positions, and seeking contributions. To the right, you see a picture of Mitt Romney in the 2012 presidential campaign, and he put a great deal of effort into Ohio and Florida and visited those states numerous occasions as the elections approached. Campaign finance. Financing campaigns is extremely expensive. Billions are spent by the parties. Because of the need for campaign contributors, it is possible that they would get special treatment from the candidate when in office. Therefore, steps have been taken to minimize the influence of special interests in the elections. The Federal Election Campaign Act, or FECA, of 1971, and its amendments are an attempt to regulate campaign financing. It requires candidates to publicly disclose their spending. And it provides federal funding for elections. And it prohibits businesses and unions from making direct contributions to the candidates. Limited individual and group contributions are allowed. And FECA established the Federal Elections Commission, the seal of which you see to the right. In 1974, FECA was amended to establish the Federal Elections Commission. It is an independent agency that administers federal election laws. Records of contributions must be kept, and all contributions over $100 must be reported. And it established public funding for presidential campaigns. If candidates accept these funds, they must agree to limit their total campaign spending. Since 1976, all major party candidates have accepted these funds for the general election. Third-party candidates receive at least 5% of the vote in the previous presidential election. If they receive at least 5% of the vote in the previous presidential election, they are eligible for these funds as well. Most campaign funding comes from private sources, such as individuals, party corporations, and special interest groups. Direct donations often come from political action committees, or PACs, as they are known. Political action committees are established by special interest groups to provide financing for candidates or parties. PACs are limited as to how much they can directly donate in a given election cycle. Political parties look for loopholes in FECA regulations to maximize their campaign financing. One example is issue advocacy advertising. They urge for support for or against certain issues such as gun control. And they do not ask people to vote for or against a particular candidate. Often, they contain a candidate's name or image, however. For instance, to the right, the Swift boat ad was used against John Kerry in the election of 2004. Although Kerry won 3 Purple Heart medals for being wounded in combat and a Silver Star for valor, it made some people think that he was a fraud. And they target the opposition candidate. And they must indicate who paid for the ad, and therefore often create front organizations that don't really exist. Like Swift Veterans for the Truth is what this organization was called. It was the front for the opposition. In 2002, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, or BRCA, was passed, and it was part of the McCain-Feingold Act, and it targeted soft money donations to political parties. Soft money is defined as contributions given directly to a political party or by a PAC or individuals for general purposes such as voter registration drives, mailings, and advertisements. It was legal because the money was not given directly to the candidates. The RCA banned all soft money contributions but raised individual contribution limits. It also banned groups from running issue ads within 30 days of a primary and 60 days of the general election. The FEC is now regulating the use of the internet for campaign fundraising. Anyone operating an election website online must identify him or herself. If creating and running the site costs more than $250, they must register with the FEC. Campaign contributions received through the internet must be reported through an established reporting procedure. That concludes our discussion on election campaigns. Thank you for viewing, and I look forward to seeing you in the live lessons. Have a great day.